This and this changes everything. This is a Shopsmith Mark V, specifically a Model 510. It's a multifunction tool, which means the single motor and the headstock drive all the tools available from Shopsmith. As you can tell, this is a lathe-based tool, meaning that the primary design is that of a lathe. But there's two very important differences between the configuration of this tool and a typical lathe, which gives the Shopsmith an uber amount of flexibility. Suppose I wanted to do some spindle turning on a typical lathe. I would present one end of the piece to the drive center, then I would bring the tailstock forward, and then probably turn a crank to advance the live center into the other end of the workpiece. This system works the opposite. I advance the headstock towards the tailstock, get it within a reasonable distance, lock it down, then I advance the drive center into the workpiece and lock the quill down in place. The Shopsmith, first released in the late 1940s, is not the first multi-purpose power tool marketed to the home or small-scale woodworker. This book, published by Delta in 1930, contains several examples of laying out workshops using their multi-purpose woodworking system. The early Delta system could perform several woodworking operations, all powered by a single motor. For example, Figure 2 depicts a lathe serving as a disc sander, and the motor can power a table saw. In another example, a single motor powers a jointer, a table saw, and a horizontal boring machine spindle. In all cases that I'm aware of, all multi-purpose woodworking tools had a stationary motor until the late 1940s when the Shopsmith's 10 and 10ER were introduced. Just like the other multi-purpose tools which came before it, the Shopsmith powered several woodworking functions from a single motor. But the motor moved back and forth on the way tubes and had an extending quill. In my opinion, this configuration provides way more functionality and flexibility. In the early 1950s, the Shopsmith 10ER was reimagined as the Shopsmith Mark V, which is the basis of all Shopsmith multi-purpose woodworking tools, including the Shopsmith Mark VII, still sold today. Suppose this is the lathe-based Delta multi-purpose tool system with the stationary motor. In order to do horizontal boring, I would set up a fence on the table, put in a spacer, and then I would advance my workpiece into the bit. Remove the spacer, and then advance my workpiece into the bit again to make a second hole. And that would have been the only way to do it because the motor was stationary without a quill. But with the advantage of a movable motor and a quill, look what we can do. I can now move my motor, unlock my quill. Now I could clamp my workpiece in place to keep it stationary, then use the quill to advance the drill bit into the workpiece. Again, remove the spacer and advance the quill into the workpiece. In my opinion, that's going to be a lot safer and more accurate. Also, because I can move the motor back and forth, I can position the motor at the correct height to be a drill press. Now I have a comfortable drill press in which I can accurately drill holes. The disc sander is another example of where the moving headstock and the extendable quill work together to create a unique advantage. If I move the headstock forward, I can clamp my workpiece in place and use the extending quill to evenly sand workpieces. So those are just some of the reasons why a moving headstock and an extending quill are important innovations for multi-purpose woodworking machines. Well, that does it for this woodshop nerdery video. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!